One of the things that we have been very clear about during this last 15 months or so is that when this day came, it would not be that we were reopening the church. And so we sought a new way of saying that. And what we landed on was this notion of regathering. Because Unity Center of Cedar Rapids never closed, we kept going. And we have a lot of people to thank for that. I know it's always dangerous when a minister starts to call names because there's always this danger that we'll leave someone out. So I ask for your forgiveness in advance. But there's so many people to thank for this wonderful experience of really in many ways not missing a beat with our services, even though they were online. And certainly we have our tech team, which is Lisa and Edwin Lindemann and Lisa Klosterman and Edwin Lindemann, Kevin Hasselquist. I don't know what we would have done without them. And what is so amazing is that we had many of these pieces, these technical pieces in place so that we could begin the process of getting our services online almost immediately. And if you know, they evolved over a few weeks as well. But we also have Nina to thank and Carl Swanson. Just working hours and hours to get music recorded as we were doing the recorded services, working Carl's wonderful computer gifts. Our choir even joined us on our services as well. Thanks to all of our tech teams, to Greg and to Tom and to Kevin Crumvita and all those who helped us out in the parking lot with the parking lot services as well. That was a big undertaking, and getting all of those technical issues in place and worked out is just a great deal of work. I want to thank our trustees who never gave up or gave out in the middle of this, who were faithful and who worked so hard to keep this center grounded and growing and grateful in the midst of it all. I particularly want to thank Linda Blacksmith and her crew for our new look. It's still unfolding, but thank you so much. Ann Lully was part of that. Lisa, again, I know, Babs, I know, and Mary, Tom. I know I'm probably going to leave some folks out, but thank all of you for your help and your support. Ray Smith, for just all that you do on everything that you do. Even to washing windows with newspaper so that they would be sparkly when they got back, and being here to help count money, and just all the things that Ray does. I want to thank our spirit choir, who went past their comfort zones and recorded their bits and got them to Carl and Nina. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our musicians who recorded their bits for the service. I particularly want to thank our licensed Unity leaders who were always creative, trying to think of ways to keep us connected during this, either through calls or texts or special programs or services or retreats. Just always thinking, how do we keep people connected? To Ruth Geary, who I would be like this if she had not been part of my life during this last 15 months. Her love for this place is remarkable, and anything that I needed or wanted her to do, she did it with a smile. Nick Hewitt, who is our custodian, who supported us. My goodness, if you haven't seen the new youth ed rooms, you need to take a gander at them, and also our new children's garden. We have Arlene Brandt and Suzanne Barnes to thank for that. They worked hours and hours and hours Also with Ruth Geary working in that process as well, and Don Oliver, who did some painting, and Linda. I mean, again, it just goes on and on, the folks who have been helpful. The Crumvitas for helping in the gardens, Jim Green, and you know, all the work that he does to make sure that things look well, and his team of folks. Frank Niedermeyer, who's came in to do work for us, Tom Zimmerman, the volunteers on cleaning days. It just, the list goes on and on. Gladys McMiller for her support and love of this place. To our EFs, our Elaine Fisher Community Cupboard volunteers, the number of folks coming now to the cupboard has exponentially grown, and just thinking about how to serve them in the middle of a pandemic and just after a storm has been remarkable, and they've just done a wonderful job. Thank you to all of you who took part in our online classes and our groups. Thank you for hanging in there. I also want to thank Bonnie Bootsmiller for putting us in touch with Dr. Perrin Savage, who is the most generous man with his time. This is a world-renowned epidemiologist who is affiliated with the University of Iowa. And I sent him an email. Bonnie said, well, try to get in touch. I'm thinking I would hear from him maybe 5 weeks later or something, because he's so busy. 10 minutes. And every time I email him, 10 minutes, I've got a response. And he's just been remarkable helping us navigate this process. Again, I know I've left people out. I apologize for that. But thank you so much for all you have done to keep Unity Center of Cedar Rapids grounded, growing, and grateful through the midst of all of this. Thank you. Thank you who have been faithful in giving during this time as well. While our offerings have been down a bit lately, and we've spoken to you about that, we see a consistency in giving that is just truly a blessing to see, and we thank you for that. Thank you for your patience. This has been a real learning experience for all of us. It took many, many hours to pull a recorded online service together, and I will tell you, we need to light a lot of candles in the sanctuary, burn, smudge, whatever we want to smudge, because the minister said some pretty bad words in here at times. I told Lisa that we should make a blooper reel and put it up on YouTube. You know, 15 months ago, when we decided that we needed to not have in-person services anymore, and we needed to postpone those, I thought it would just be a few weeks. It never dawned on me that it would be 15 months. And so, you know, I felt, as I know you did, a bit unmoored, my feet not quite on the ground, trying to navigate all of this, not only in my personal life, but also as the minister of this church, as its spiritual leader. And I remembered there's a New Thought singer-songwriter, Janice Stanfield. I don't know if you know her or not, but she wrote this song called "I'm Not Lost, I'm Exploring." And I love that, and it's true. Even though at times it felt like I was lost, like I didn't know exactly what was happening or where I was going, I realized that I was exploring. I was exploring new ways of responding to circumstances in life, and I think you could probably relate to that this 15 months has been a journey in exploring who and what we are, what we truly believe, and there's no better way to figure that out than to have something like a pandemic followed by a derecho in the space of 6 months, right? So it helps you understand, it clearly reveals what you believe and what you may say you believe. So we have explored the depths of our being. We've explored what we believe to be the truth. There's a Psalm 118, there's one line we know very well, but we forget about the lines that come before it. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Indeed, our regathering this morning is God's work. Early on, we envisioned a day, as I mentioned earlier, when we would regather. We moved all the chairs and measured 6 feet between them. We put the chairs facing that way. We put the chairs facing this way. We thought we would be here 6 feet apart with Mass, not singing, not hugging, but this is God's work. Through the miracle and the divine wisdom working through researchers and the miracle of vaccination, we find ourselves here today gathered in a way that looks very familiar and not so strange. And my God, are we grateful for that. The words of the psalmist inspire us to know God is our refuge and our strength. My favorite psalm, Psalm 46. And I think I now understand the true meaning of those words. God is always with us to give us strength in time of trial, to bring peace in stressful times as well, and to bring hope when we feel completely engulfed and overwhelmed. All we need is the strength to take the next step. And I certainly think we could agree with that there were times in which we could garner the strength to just take that next step. And that continues to be my mantra. Go to the edge of the light you see. Go to the next step and know that the rest of it will be revealed. I've learned many things this past year. The greatest of these gifts is the understanding that as I step out on faith, in faith, the strength of God will be quickened in me and my steps will be ordered. There's a great line in the book of Isaiah that has always inspired me, but I don't think I've really ever got it until now. I will lead the blind by a road they do not know. By paths they have not known, I will guide them. Certainly, I've been blind so often in my life, and that blindness was sort of an unwillingness to see. But sometimes we can't see what the next step is in front of us. But God will guide us as we go to the edge of the light that we see. How many members of the Unity Center of Cedar Rapids congregation does it take to change a light bulb? None. We already have the light within us. I know, it's a groaner. Bad joke. Lame preacher joke. But how true. The light of God is within us. The very presence of God is within us. And all we need to do is remember that we can radiate that light out in front of us like a flashlight. Like a flashlight. And let it guide and order our steps. That light is already here within us. And as we trust the light, we can experience this great homecoming. This is God's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. As I was pondering this lesson for today, I sort of thought it needed to be something like a New Year's lesson, a lesson about new beginnings. When I was a teenager, I went to an all-girls high school. And the way that we met boys, my friend Andrea and I, is that we would either go to the skating rink or the bowling alley. So Andrea and I decided to join a Saturday morning bowling league. Now, at first it was all about the boys. But then I realized I kind of like bowling. And then I realized I'm kind of good at it. And so Andrea continued to flirt with the boys, but I began to take my bowling as a 16-year-old very seriously. Now, in those days, there wasn't automatic scoring. Sure, there was a screen up, but you hand scored it, and it was sort of like an overhead projector that would project the score up on the screen. And so you had to know how to score. Now, if your first two frames were not what you wanted them to be, you missed a spare or you got a split, you would simply on the second at the right side of the second frame draw a big black line. We actually would take a red wax pencil with us and make it red, right? And it was that idea of beginning again. Beginning again. In some ways, that's what we're doing. We're beginning again together. There are many of you that I haven't met yet. Today, again, in many ways, is a new beginning. It is a day of renewal. It is a day of reconnection. This is a day in which we begin to revision and celebrate our life together as a spiritual community. We may tend to think of a new beginning in terms of external change, but the new beginning is actually an internal experience. I think we all know that. And in some ways, our new beginning is more grounded than it was in the beginning that we had in January of 2020, because what this experience has provided for us is a sense of rootedness that perhaps we didn't have before. We're more grounded even than we were then. In many ways, again, our spiritual roots have deepened. The experience of the last 15 months is now part of the UCR story. When the next group of folks who come after us do our 200th anniversary, they will tell this tale. They will tell about UCR and the way that it navigated through this pandemic and through the storm. They will tell of all that was revealed in us. First, that we are resilient. We are stronger than we ever imagined ourselves to be. We are faithful. We are faith-filled. We are creative and imaginative. We are wise and flexible. And gosh, no, we are teachable. We are bound together so powerfully that nothing, not even a pandemic nor a storm, can separate us. The past 15 months are now part of the UCR story, a narrative that weaves our lives together in a rich tapestry of experience. And we all come here with our own life experience. Each thread of our lives may be different, but we are woven together by a common set of spiritual values and commitments into a rich tapestry, an intentional community. We are bound together. We are connected in ways that transcend even familial bonds. Indeed, resilience and faith may be the two ideas that I celebrate about this spiritual community most often. The Sufi poet and mystic Rumi wrote, "The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already have." That idea grounds me. It grounded me these past few months as we grappled to find answers and solutions to problems. Indeed, we are grounded in faith. We are growing in love. We are grateful for all the ways that God expresses in and through us and in and through our lives. We have come home. We have come home to one another. But during this last 15 months, we have also come home to this power and possibility and strength and wisdom and resilience that is within us. Now, we love stories about coming home. The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. The Lord of the Rings, as Frodo returns to the Shire. The Iliad and the Odyssey. Even in the scripture, the New Testament, the prodigal son is a story of returning home. Almost the entirety of the Hebrew scripture, what we commonly call the Old Testament, is about coming home. There's something archetypal about this idea, as if it is encoded in our very DNA. Coming home. Now there's this old saying, home is where the heart is. It is a very old saying. It probably dates from the 1st century. Home is where the heart is. To me, this means that home is the place in which we feel a sense of emotional connection, a place in which we feel loved and like we belong, where we feel connected, where we feel accepted and loved for who and what we are. It is a place in which we can breathe, and be authentically who and what we are. That's home. A place in which we understand that we are one. And I know that your heart is here in this place. It is connected to this physical space, more so than the walls or the carpet or the chairs. It has more to do with the experiences that you have had in this place as you laughed and cried together and celebrated, as you loved. Your hearts are here. Since last March, I've held that in my heart. And it was my privilege to be one of the stewards of your home. And I don't take that responsibility entrusted to me lightly. This building, this place, this space means a great deal to you. It means a great deal to me. It is the container of hopes and dreams and prayers. This is a place that affirms you as you are, as whole. One that reminds you that you are enough just as you are. This community is your lighthouse. Anne Lamott writes, lighthouses don't go running all over the island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. This is a radiating center of light and love. This is a radiating center of light and love. But that is made possible by the light that is within you. It is your light that imbues this place with light. So welcome home, because home is where the heart is. God bless you.